show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fantasy NBA Today, a Sports Ethos presentation brought to you by our great partners at FanDuel. That's Fantasy NBA Today, a Sports Ethos presentation. My name is Aaron Bruski. With me, as always, is the great Steve, Dr. A. Alexander. And if you guys are looking to win your fantasy league, well, you're in the right place. And we've got a great show lined up today, looking ahead to tonight's slate, a big 12-game slate, and helping you guys get your streamers, what to watch for, and then who you guys should consider selling high. Wait a second. Are we doing the preview show first? I think I got that completely backwards. I did. Doc, how are you doing? I'm going to get the show rundown. I'm going to get the right rundown.
That is fantastic, Brew. I love that. That is something
I read whatever's on the prompter. It's just the prompter had the wrong thing in it.
I'm telling you, if you write it on the prompter, Burgundy will read it.
What's going on in your world, Doc?
Oh, busy day for me today. I got a lot going on, but having a tough little gambling week. I'll say that. Hopefully college football turns it all around this weekend.
Nice. All right. Well, I'm back up and running. Let's get to some news here. And we're not doing any of that. We're doing all sorts of different stuff, which is great and fine. Doc, Gabe Vincent dealing with lower back tightness and will be reevaluated in 1 week. DeAndre Ayton and Austin Reeves are out. I'll hit us with a bunch of news here, and then we can kind of spin back and get some stuff. DeAndre Ayton and Austin Reeves are out. It's hilarious. Drew Holiday, right calf strain, out. Grayson Allen, right knee soreness, questionable. Lauri Markkanen, questionable. That one's caught my ear. Alex Sarr, I'm sure that's catching your ear, aren't you? You're an Alex Sarr guy, right, Doc?
Yeah.
Bilal Coulibaly, both of them off the injury report. So interesting stuff in Washington. Chris Middleton out. Norm Powell said he will play. That's great news for Doc. Jakob Poeltl downgraded to questionable. Najee Marshall downgraded to questionable. Anthony Davis not seen participating in shoot around.
Shocking.
I didn't want to draft him, but I had to. James Harden is out against the OKC Thunder with a left calf contusion. The Clippers are uncertain about his status for Saturday. Where do we want to? Okay, what on about all those things I said? At least the things that were correct and applicable to this show. Which ones are standing out to you? Is it the Lakers stuff, the Washington Wizards stuff? Is it the James Harden against the Thunder? What's the biggest spicy meatball for you?
This James Harden missing games, I think I'm afraid that it might become a trend because the Clippers have cashed it in. They don't care. They don't even have a draft pick, right? Like that's going to OKC. Is that right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're going to tank and they're going to suck and it's going to all be for nothing. And it's bad, man. I really thought they were going to have a good season. So the James Harden news is concerning to me. The Alex Sarr thing is weird because I thought we just got a report that made it sound like things were looking worse instead of better for him. So of course he's not in my lineup this week and here we go. It sounds like maybe he's going to play. I don't know. Trae Young being back for the Hawks possibly tonight is kind of exciting news, kind of a big deal. And then Norm Powell should go off with Tyler Hero out for the Heat. Those are my initial thoughts on the news roundup.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping and wondering if you would take the James Harden one because this Clippers season, it started with all the promise, and that's not news to anybody. But the fact that it spun south and now you have James Harden and Kawhi Leonard who, do they care? Do they want to play? You got the story that came out from Ramona Shelburne about how Chris Paul got let go. To me, and reading between those lines and reading that Kawhi Leonard was, still is in contact with Chris Paul so much, it all screamed James Harden to me, that James Harden couldn't handle it anymore. And I'd always side with Chris Paul in that one. But the fabric of that team, it feels like it's going to fall apart. And then James Harden's been a guy who's not really been known for fabric. And that's two massive fantasy values that could just go in the tank. As far as the Wizards go, a lot of stuff we'll cover throughout the show. But clearly Alex Sarr being back means a lot to the entire rotation. So cool stuff to follow there. The Lauri Markkanen stuff we'll cover in the streamers show. And then with Los Angeles. We're going to get a big fat opening for some players to step through and do some good things. All right, let's get out of news and let's get into your Dr. A, my guys of the night on a 2-game slate last night. Who did you like?
Josh Giddey went out and got it done. He had a 23-11-11 triple-double with 5 triples and 2 steals and a block. That's a massive line for a guy that sucked the previous game and only played 24 minutes. He did all that last night in 34 minutes, so that was pleasing to see him get 10 more minutes. But just a great game from Giddey. He'd been slipping a little bit, so it was that was a nice little bounce back.
Nice. And seeing some updates rolling through. Lauri Markkanen out tonight. I know we have a plan to talk about these guys really soon here, so I think I'll just hold off on that and then trying to get this to appear on screen here. Al Horford expecting to miss about 1 more week with his sciatica, and then we got nothing else. Josh Giddey was really good. I thought that the Chicago Bulls came through, and obviously Cleveland did not, and it meant a lot for Josh, I think, and the team, that they all played well. It means a lot to their fantasy value, and we'll kind of keep it rolling here. I got a few things to talk about with them later. Who else do you have as your my guy of the night?
And yeah, shout out to the Bulls who destroyed the Cavaliers. I had the Cavaliers. I called that a must win for the Cavaliers, and they basically got run out of the gym in Chicago. So they're 15-13 now. Cleveland is. So they're barely above 500. My number 2 guy is Rudy Gobert. And Rudy Gobert, I believe, had 16 points, 16 rebounds, and 4 blocks. That is a huge game for Rudy Gobert. And he's on a lot of my teams because he was cheap. He was available late, and he's very serviceable. He also had a steal and 4 assists. So very good night for the forgotten man, the microphone licking Rudy Gobert.
Wonderful for him, and wonderful for everybody in that box score, because everybody had a good night. That was great for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Julius Randle, 21-5-3, and a whole bunch of goodies. Jaden McDaniels, 13-7-6, triple one. Nas got off. Dante DiVincenzo, 19-11. Big fat stat line there. Just a big fat stat line kind of a night. Doc, if you got anything to add to your My Guys of the Night, feel free. Otherwise, I will spin us into my B150 players of the night. Let's start with Jaren Jackson. I bet when we were talking yesterday about this, if maybe it was the day before, I said, if Jaren Jackson Jr. does it again, what do you do? Well, he did it again. 28-12 with 3 assists, 1 steal, 3 blocks, 2 threes. What are you going to do, Doc?
I was leaning toward, if he does it again, I think he's figured it out. Like somebody flipped the switch, and I feel like he's going to start finally doing this. And maybe this is the ultimate sign that you should sell him while you can and get out of the JJJ business. But I kind of feel like he's like, okay, now I'm going to start balling. I don't care if Ja's here or not. I don't care who else is with me. I'm going to do this thing.
My concerns are that he becomes a focal point of the offense and starts to take too many shots. That's always been a killer to his fantasy value. He's better with other good players there, keeping him in a, say, 46, 47% range, rather than sometimes 44 or 40 or whatever it was that one year where he got the ball and got to do whatever he wanted with it. So that is the probable top concern for me. He went 10 of 18 in this one last night. It's one game. Who cares? But the switch being flipped like that, the fact we have proof of concept, he can still do it. He can still do it. And if he's top peak Jaren Jackson Jr., that's a 4th round guy, is probably the best place to throw a dart at the top level production from Jaren Jackson Jr. So I don't know. I think probably what you want to do with him is target top 75 value. And if you can fashion whatever your buy low or your sell high is, I think that's probably the new level for Jaren Jackson Jr. And if he has another big game, it's probably going to go up about a round. And if he has a bad game, it'll go down a round. This needle's moving pretty heavily with whatever development occurs. But he was a top 100 guy and not any great signs that it was going to turn around. So really interesting buy low, sell high action for Jaren Jackson Jr. My other B150 player of the night is Nikola Vucevic, 29-4, 2 steals, 1 block, 2 threes. I think he had 29 minutes in this game without looking at it. And this is really interesting. So he's definitely in a 3-way timeshare now. Zach Collins has entered the chat. And so Jalen Smith, Zach Collins, and Nikola Vucevic are going to play center and a little bit of power forward as they mix and match these guys. So on one hand, you got a big line. You can sell with it. You can sell the kind of turnaround story that he's going to go back to being, say, a 4th round player. But I think the reality of it is, and this could theoretically be better for him. I mean, these guys that are a little bit older and not as effective, they could do better with less minutes and to just be more used during those minutes. But he's going to probably play about 28, 29 minutes going forward. That seems to be the plan. They've talked about it openly in Chicago. And basically, the question now becomes, is he going to be better in 29 minutes or is he going to lose value in 29 minutes compared to like 31 or 32 or if he even goes down to 28? I would say this is a sell high moment. You also have the trade scenarios that aren't necessarily great for him. I don't think he's going to fall off a cliff anywhere he goes, but I think Nikola Vucevic just became a great sell high opportunity for you all. All right, let's get out of that. Feel free to weigh in if you want, Doc, but let's get to the top 2 ads from last night.
I'm going to go with Jock Landale. We've kind of been trying to figure out if it's Landale or Santi Aldama's season with the big man out for Zach Edey out for Memphis. Last night it was Landale, man. 20 points, 10 boards, 3 assists, 2 steals, a block, hit 4 3-pointers. That's a massive game. And he has really been outplaying Santi Aldama recently. So I think Landale, we're to the point where he's kind of a must-add guy.
I'm going back in my head to when I thought that Landale was going to outplay Alperen Sengun a little bit in Houston, and it didn't happen. But I thought it might, and he's given me some cred right now, a little bit of cred. There was a lot of good box scores or a lot of good stats in this game and even around the 2 games last night. So you kind of got to look. If everybody does super well in a game, it's just the way the game was played. It was the officiating and maybe even the stat keeper. But Landale's been a guy that we've been on all year long, and I do think he's fit for this system. So I'm inclined to be a little bit more aggressive here and think that he's showing that he can be a must-roster player. I don't know if he's locked in as a must-roster player, but it feels like that game might have done it. So great stuff for Jock. Trey Jones is my ad from last night. It's obviously a very slow night with just 2 games. So Trey Jones is probably not for every format. There's a lot of good guards out there right now, but he went for 11 and 11, 3 steals, hit most of his shots, did it in 24 minutes a game. I've just noticed he has way more pop this season than he's ever had in the past. And though there's been some injury issues and some, ups and downs in the rotation lately, he's been good this season. He started the season on a top 75 run and had the dip and had the time off. And now it feels like he could theoretically be a top 100 guy going forward, which is hard to find on the wire. It's also hard to find this kind of assists on the wire. So Trey Jones threw his hat kind of in a similar fashion with Jock Landale. I think that they're pretty equally positioned here for standard leagues in terms of being must roster players. They're probably one good game from having that be a certainty. Right now, it's I'd say a 2/3 chance for both players that they are must roster players in standard leagues. So feel free to weigh in on that, Doc. Who's your next honorable mention from last night?
Jalen Wells playing well for the Grizzlies, man. Like every night, like his scoring average, like over his last 10 games, it's somewhere between 16 and 25 points, and it's every single night. It's just consistent double digits. He's averaging 17 and a half points on 52% shooting in the month of December. He had 17 points, 4 boards, 2 assists, 4 steals last night with 2 3-pointers, man. The 4 steals is a big number. That really boosted up his steals per game. In December, he's now at 1.5. That's important because the knock on Jalen Wells is he gives you points and nothing else. And it's kind of true. 17 and a half points, 3.8 rebounds, 1.8 assists, but 2 threes and 1.4, 1.5 steals. If he keeps hitting threes and getting steals going forward, his fantasy outlook's going to look a lot better. So I think Jalen Wells is a guy that is serviceable because he scores, 18 points a night. But if he's going to start stealing the ball a little bit and keep on banging threes, then he's gonna see a boost.
Yeah, he's one of the more interesting players in fantasy right now when you consider just hard to evaluate and sneaky good. Top 75 guy in 9 cat leagues over the last 8 or so games, and he's doing it largely on the basis of free throws, where he's hitting over 85% of them, I think 5 or so a game. And that he's on my list of I want to watch Jalen Wells and just kind of focus in on Jalen Wells and see, has he taken another step forward? I'm seeing more and more commentary from opposing teams' beat writers about how he's playing well in the dribble drive game, the step through game. And the high free throw count certainly suggests that he's getting downhill, and he needed that extra element to his game. And if he can be a get to the foul line guy, it will help the fact that he's not getting you a ton of steals and blocks. Lately, he's getting you 1.3 and 2 threes, 1.3 steals and 2 threes over 29 minutes in his last 8 games. So that's, to your point, that's climbing the ladder, and it's doing the trick. Now we got to just see, can he be consistent with it? And he's hitting 51% of his shots right now in that sample. That's a little high. He shoots a lot of threes, so that's bound to come back down. So Jalen Wells might be taking a step forward right now. We might be watching it happen. So good stuff there. I'll shout out Bones Highland. He had 12 points, 3 boards, and 5 assists, 1 steal, 2 threes. As long as Anthony Edwards is out, I feel like they need Bones Highland in the lineup to do stuff. So it's just a pretty simple 1-for-1 relationship there. And anybody nervous about Anthony Edwards? A little bit nervous. And then also Jalen Tyson, as we've said for like 7 weeks or whatever, he needs to be rostered everywhere. And we'll talk about that, I'm sure, at some point in time. But Cleveland, a sinking ship, but with Jalen Tyson, doesn't really impact him. He's just doing great one way or another. Now, before we dive into what to watch for tonight, and while you're taking a moment to add some of these folks we just talked about, it really helps you guys, or helps us out, if you guys subscribe to the Fantasy NBA Today podcast and the Sports Ethos YouTube channel. You can also drop a thumbs up on the video and leave us a comment as well. Ask a few questions. We'll get back to you. Drop Zone. Who you got, Doc?
Well, it's not Khalil Ware. So if it's not Khalil Ware, it must be Matas Buzelis.
This hurts.
You know what? I'm not dropping Buzelis this season. So
nothing he could do could
no, I'm going down with the ship, dude. And I'm surprised I haven't gotten to hate mail for my overzealous drafting of Buzelis, because I was reaching hard, and it's not over, right? Like, after the season is done, if we're still looking at this in the same light we're looking at it today, then I'm gonna just.
He had a bad day.
I'm just gonna apologize. I mean, it's just. It is what it is, but we're not even halfway through this season. There's tons of time for this ship to right itself. There's trades to be made in Chicago. Buzelis last night got 22 minutes, had 9 points, 0 steals, 1 block, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 0 3-pointers. Like, probably the worst game he's had this season. So I'm calling this rock bottom for Buzelis. This is the ultimate buy low moment on Buzelis, who, believe it or not, I think is going to go off the second half of the season. I still believe that. I still think it's going to happen. Also, interestingly, despite him doing nothing, the Bulls were a plus 15 in the plus or minus department with him on the floor last night. And that was a big win for Chicago.
He's actually, this last game is obviously bad, but the week before was really good. And if you want some silver linings here, Doc, I mean, the dude's hitting 57.5% of his shots from the field, 93% of his shots from the foul line over the last 5 games, 26 minutes per game. The minutes aren't there, but and there's other issues. I mean, he needs to just do more. 12 points, 4.5 boards, 1.5 assists. That's not cutting it. 2.6 cash counters is not cutting it. And the minutes certainly impact that. But as I've been saying too, Doc, I mean, I didn't get a lot of Buzelis on squads, so it's not hurting me the way that it's hurting your squads. But at the very end of the preseason, I really wanted to have more Buzelis on squads, just watching him play. It has not panned out. But anyway, I'm pro buying into Buzelis. I think that the value could not be any lower. I want to know, can somebody out there get a top 100 trade done for Modest Buzelis? Could you send across a top 100 guy right now and get Modest Buzelis? You're playing with house money at that point. I think the current Modest Buzelis will be just fine for you in that trade. Getting the better version that's going to happen. I mean, like to your point, we're actually not even a third of the way through the season. So there's so much season left to go. These stories tend to change. Hell, we're just talking about Jaren Jackson. These things, they switch in an instant. And at some point, somebody in the front office or the coach, Billy Donovan, says, right now, we're going to go to Buzelis. We're going to max out his minutes to 33, 34 and make him a part of the game plan. And everything flips. And you just want to get that. Now, interesting question from the chat here. Who do you like better, Doc? Khalil Ware or Modest rest of season?
That's like asking me to pick who my favorite child is.
They're in the other room. You can just tell us which one is your favorite.
It's pretty clear when I talk about it all the time. But it is difficult for me because I drafted both of those guys. I drafted them earlier than they were supposed to go. People made fun of me for doing so, and I'm going down with the ship with both of those guys. So I think if I had to pick one, I'd say Buzelis, just because he doesn't have Bam Adebayo standing in his way. He has nobody standing in his way. He starts, and Pat Williams is not battling that dude for a role. And Kevin Huerter, I hope, isn't, but hell, I don't know at this point. But I just feel like Buzelis has the better path.
He's got the better path, and I'm, as mentioned, pretty pro Buzelis. But I actually would take Khalil Ware here. Just I have so much belief in that dude's stat set, and the fact that if he ever gets 27 minutes per game, that he could be a top 40 guy. I'll just gamble on that. And then another question here in the chat, as they go by too fast for me to be able to keep up with them, was
Huff or Gillespie.
Yeah,
Would you trade Huff or Gillespie for Modest?
Okay. All right. Let's go one at a time here. Huff for Modest is very interesting. I would say this. Huff could make this look bad because if this dude gets 27 minutes per game and we just get to see full J Huff, like, we've never seen that, right? And we don't know. It's been a while since I can't remember the last player that fit this profile that got so many blocks and so many threes, and kind of that's it. That's like the whole ball game. And they just climb the ranks so fast. It's concentrated in those two areas, so that makes it a little bit less valuable than if it was across the board. But I'll take Modest here because I think the guy can handle that many minutes. I think he'll get the minutes. I think there is upside built into that stat set somewhere, though we're not seeing it right now. I hate to think that this might be a next year thing with Bacelis, but I'll take the guy that I trust to stay upright, and I think that's Modest Bacelis. As far as Colin Gillespie, for Modest, I don't think I would do that. I really don't. I think Gillespie has another gear, and it's if they really truly cut him loose, they have to. Like they go, hey, Colin, you got to play 32 minutes game because such and such is hurt here, such and such is hurt there, and we believe in you, and we're taking the next step forward with you and all of that. But at this current level where he's going to play between 24 at worst, 27 in kind of a most likely scenario, at 27 minutes a game, he's just going to cruise at top 80 levels. And that's going to, at the end of this season, look like a top 50 player with like pretty much no risk. So I will take the Colin Gillespie side on that one, which is funny.
What about Grayson Allen for Buzelis?
I'm a little worried about the injury risk with Grayson. Like the everything else is in the right spot. The role, the physicality, the ability to do what he needs to do to get the value. It's just, is he going to be banged up? Last year was such a bad thing. Like he had this athleticism the year before. What happened last year? I don't know if somebody said, hey, dude, you got to bulk up, you got to add 20 pounds, and then it all fell apart from there. Or was he just injured and then wanted to work out, gained the weight, didn't have the cardio, and then it all tumbled down from there? I don't know. I don't know what it was, but he looked like a completely different dude last year. It didn't work out. Now they're doing great with him. So yeah, I would take Bacelis in that case. It's very tough. I might have had them ranked the other way around, but I'll go with Bacelis. A little bit of a risk and gamble there. I don't know what's going on in that chat, guys. There's no way I can keep up with all of that. Let's get to my drop zone player. I'll start with Cedric Coward here. 13, 5, and 3, 1 steal, 41% of his shots. So cool. It's a low grade. He got a steal night. Every time he just gets the one steal, I go, oh, it's another proof that he can't get defensive stats, and it takes all of the upside away. But I will hang on, I think, in a standard league with him as an end-of-the-bench player, kind of the last player on your roster kind of a guy. I just think that they're committed to him. I think it'll probably work out over the long run. I think the shooting dip will probably correct itself as we go throughout the year a little bit. And Coward, just a great player, not enough fantasy game. And I guess I'll just leave it at that. Doc, if you want to add anything to that, feel free. But otherwise, who else do you have in your drop zone?
Well, I just wanted to comment and apologize to our listeners who may have taken my advice, our advice on Dean Wade and Vince Williams yesterday. They were both a disaster. If you pick them up to stream them, I think you can drop them and move on. With Ja Morant not playing, and who else? Who's the other guy ruled out? Spencer with Cam Spencer.
Both Spencers.
Yeah, with Cam Spencer not playing.
Reasons. So
yeah, with Cam not playing in Memphis, I just thought that it was going to be a Vince Williams bonanza, and then with Evan Mobley out, we expect Dean Wade to do stuff, and neither one of those things happened last night, and it kind of sucked.
I think, though, one thing about Dean Wade, just, we've got a little bit here with Evan Mobley out. Dean had a decent game the game before, and then just this dud, but a lot of people dudded out in that box score. He's not the only one. DeAndre Hunter was bad. Darius Garland was okay-ish, but I mean, just the only other kind of productive player not named Donovan Mitchell. I mean, Jared Allen was okay, but not great. So it's like, if you see the entire box score is good for a team, you got to take it with a tiny bit of grain of salt. Same thing when everybody's bad. And also these players, they go up and down. Like if Dean Wade had a good game in the next one, it would kind of be fit, That's so I would say if you're streaming, keep an eye on Dean Wade going forward. As far as Vince goes, I don't know, man. This guy's so hard to read. I'm not going to buy into Vince Williams until we see sustained production. And DeAndre Hunter is really interesting. When they added him last season, he was at the peak of his game. And now he just doesn't seem to have any gear at all. Nobody in Cleveland, none of the beat writers feel like he's like turning it around or he's going to, have a good season. And not that he's a great fantasy guy. It's just not working out for him. So, Doc, you got anything else you want to talk about in the drop zone before we move to our second show?
I am good.
I can read the first show promos and the second show and just kind of keep it up today. That'll do it. I'm not going to do that. That'll do it for today's show. If you guys enjoyed this episode, the best way to keep this content coming is super simple. If you're listening on the pod feed, take 60 seconds and drop us a 5-star review, which helps us a ton. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up on the video and subscribe to the Sports Ethos channel so you never miss a new episode. And don't forget to check out our work over at sportsethos.com where you'll find the Bruski 150. I actually just went through the player comments yesterday. I didn't have time to do like all the proofreading I wanted to do. I used to be a writer. Doc used to remember we used to edit our work. And
I used to be a writer as well, but I really am not one anymore.
It's I was going through with a fine tooth comb because I wanted to be super perfect. And it's great. I felt like I got to write about every player in the league, and all those rankings, they take a lot and they are very, very valuable. So check it out over at sportsethos.com. Check out the NBA Fantasy Pass so you can get access to that. And you can also see how I'm doing in fantasy leagues. And that article itself has actually got some pretty important stuff in there, just about the industry at large. So check that out. And we're going to get out of here. Thanks to Andre, Doc, our fantasy basketball content team, Mike, Keston, Mark, Tim, William, Pedro, Yoel, John, Paul, Anthony, and many more. Big shout out to the tech team. And from Steve, Andre, and all of us here at Sports Ethos, we will be right back with a preview of tonight's action. This has been Fantasy NBA Today, presented by FanDuel.